Hello, welcome to the CVB's podcast regarding features of acceptable templates for outlines submitted electronically to the CVB via the NCAH portal. This podcast is a companion to the written NCAH portal user guide number 17. It is not intended to be used in lieu of the written instructions, but simply as a supplement. Please ensure that you read the written instructions carefully before attempting to create outlines for submission to the CVB. Now that we are going to electronic submission of outlines, we need to pay particular attention to the template that they're submitted on. The CVB will be utilizing many electronic efficiencies to review and work with these outlines, and so we need them all to have the same look and feel, so to speak. The CVB has provided complete templates for each of the four major categories of outlines described in 9 CFR 114.9. This page you're seeing right now is a screenshot out of User Guide 17, and it contains live hyperlinks to our templates. Our CVB templates are configured so that the headings are already set up for you, and you can insert text between the headings. We have been asked, however, to allow licensees and permittees to create their own template if they want to, if they have some internal system that would make that more attractive to them. We do not have a problem with that. However, we ask that you get your custom template approved by the CVB before you use it in any official submissions. And we ask that the custom template have certain features. And it's those features that I want to discuss in this podcast. Here's an example of one of our complete CVB templates, the one for vaccines and related products. It has a cover page, and then each subsequent page has the various headings, and as I said, you can type as much text as you need to in between those headings. If you want to create your own custom template, however, we do have starter templates that you can use. These have the cover page and page headers started for you, and otherwise are quite bare for you to customize. Again, I'm looking at a page out of User Guide number 17 that has direct hyperlinks for the skeleton documents, so to speak, the starter documents for outlines of production and special outlines. You'll notice the reason that we want our cover page and header and footer, we have various things set up as form fields, so to speak. So if we enter a true name here, it automatically will populate on the subsequent page headers. Likewise, information about product code and when we submitted what version and our licensee. We also have a standard footer. This is for the CVB's use so that we can enter the mail log number under which the outline was received, and we can also add our digital signature, which replaces the stamps that you used to have on paper outlines. So every template, even custom ones, need to have this information. You'll notice that the CVB complete templates have been set up, so each one of these headings shows over in the navigation bar as well. We want all of the custom templates to have the headings show in the navigation bar. This will be a great source of efficiency for us to be able to easily move from one section of the outline without having to hunt for the page that particular information might be on. I've switched down now to another document that doesn't have any headings. You can see over here in the navigation pane that nothing is defined. So to set things up so that they show in the navigation pane, you have to work with styles. So go to the Home tab in Microsoft Word, and you will find the Styles section, which has everything that you need. When we type just normal text, the style is normal. What we need to do is define certain text as a heading. So we highlight it and say that it is a heading. And there are different levels of headings. So my first level sections, Roman numerals 1 through 6 in an outline of production, would be heading 1. Then my subheadings under each of the Roman numerals would be heading 2. And you can keep defining on down to level heading 3, heading 4, however long that you'd like to do it. The CVB would like you to define headings down to that second level. Anything beyond that is strictly your choice. You'll notice that when I changed this to heading number 1, by default, Microsoft Word made it a blue font, and I don't want that. So you can always change how headings look. Go up and hover your cursor over the style that you want to change, and right-click with your mouse, and you should get an option to modify. So that I can say, instead of 16-point blue font, I want it to be 12. I want it to be black. And I want it to be bold. And as soon as I redefined how that heading should look, you'll notice that it changed this. And section 2, I'll go ahead and apply heading style 1 to it. Same thing happens. So I'm going to modify heading 2 so that it'll look the same way. Only the thing is, for heading 2, I want it to also indent a 1/4 of an inch. So I'll go down to this Format button, and under Paragraph, I say that I want an indent of a 1/4 of an inch. So now I'm going to go ahead and define my headings for my A sections. Heading 2. Heading 2. And you'll notice it's keeping my 1/4 inch indent that I already had there. It didn't push it back over to the left margin. And you notice as I define each of these headings by a style, they start showing up in the navigation bar. You'll notice they show up with their number or their letter. We want that to show up, not just the text, but also the number or the letter. That works fairly automatically if you have hand numbered your outline. If you like to auto number your outline, then a few things that you ought to know. I'm going to switch to another version of this same document where I did auto number my headings. So here I have auto numbered, and if I try, I can't highlight that A. I tried to, but I can't because it's part of an auto number. If I just go ahead and highlight the title and say I want it to be heading 2, you'll notice that I lost my A, and it auto numbered now so that this one's A rather than this one. If you want to use auto numbering with these headings, you need to define the numbering in the heading style. So in this one, heading 2, I'm going to go back, right-click again, modify, and I'm going to, in the format, I'm going to say whenever I say it's heading 2, I want it numbered and I want it ABC. Now you'll notice, and it picked D simply because it was up to C up here, but normally it wouldn't do that. So you have to remember that with auto numbering, that you'll have to define the numbering within. And you notice when I did that, defined heading 2, that it should have auto numbering. Now we've got double numbering up here, and that's because it's remembering my manual number as well as applying auto numbers. So if I wanted to clean up that, I just simply take out the manual number. One last thing I should mention is that a heading can only be defined if you have a standalone title for a section. So for example, down here in this subsection 1, there's no standalone title like there was for the others. I can't just highlight master cell stocks and expect that to show up as a heading. It will take my heading style, which in this case was defined as a blue larger font, but you'll notice it didn't show up as 1 over here. And that's because it's not on a standalone line. If I happen to insert a line break here, and now I attempt to define it as heading 3, then it does show over on this side. So just one other thing to be aware of. Going back to our complete CVB template, some people have said that they didn't want to use the complete template because they may have certain products that don't need all the headings. For example, if you have a combination package, that is 2 licensed products that are marketed together, many times sections 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are all just one-line things, and nobody wants to have to go through and say not applicable under each one of these very granular headings that they don't need. I will let you know a secret on how to make these headings so that they can be changed. These were basically made read-only to prevent inadvertent changes. So somebody accidentally hits a key and blows away a whole heading. We wanted to prevent that. We do realize that there are times when you legitimately do not want certain headings in an outline. For example, this cultures one. Say the whole section is just going to say, see the outline for code. And that's all I need. I don't need A, B, C, D. So I want to get rid of this. All you have to do is go to the heading that you don't want and put your cursor in it. And then, first of all, you have to have your development ribbon on. And you'll see here I don't have this on. It's something that you only have to do once. But if we go into Options and Customize Ribbon, I do not know why Microsoft does not check this box by default, but they don't. Check that box for developer. Once you do this as a one-time thing, it will always show for you after that. So once I have the developer tab, I go to that, and with my cursor in this heading, I can go to Group, and then when I drop down that menu, I can say I want to ungroup it. That's all it takes to basically unlock it so that it's editable. You can see now I can change it. If after I change something and I want to, if I ever wanted to put it back again, I would just have to highlight the entire amount that I wanted to put back and say that I want to group it. But for now, I want it ungrouped so that since I don't need this section, that I can get rid of it. So you can just repeat the process for every one of the unneeded sections. We do ask, however, though, that if you have unneeded sections, don't renumber the existing sections. We want to keep them the way they are, so that, again, we always have a standard place to look for certain information. There are a few other little things we have changed in these electronic templates that differs from paper. There was a regulation that said the first page of the body of the outline had to have a 1.5 inch top margin. None of us who work here now know quite why that regulation existed, and so we are saying make all of your top margins the same at 1 inch. Another thing was that with paper, historically, we did not number the cover page. And so the first page of the body of the text was number 1. We are now going to number the cover page, although that number doesn't actually have to appear on the cover page. The cover page has to count as number 1. So you'll notice in this template, page 2 is the very first page of the body. And the reason we're doing this is so that when Microsoft Word says, I've got my cursor in here, and Microsoft Word says I'm on page 2, that it says page 2 here, rather than having to adjust by 1 all the time. Another thing that will change from the paper submissions is that we ask that the submitter that you do not sign these outlines. The reason for signing the paper one was for authenticity. That's all done through the portal now, and by your logon credentials, we know it's you. And so we do not want your signature on the outline. Dealing with 2 signatures as we go back and forth with review causes more trouble than it's worth. So please don't configure a place for you to sign your own outline when you make your custom templates. As a final reminder, if you elect to create a custom template, it needs to be submitted for approval so that we can make sure that all of the things we really want on the template are there. This page out of User Guide 17 shows what we'd like for you to do to submit your template for approval. It's not necessary to pre-approve special outlines because there's really no standard headings that you can have on those. Although by getting your outline template, a custom one approved, we'll know that you know how to set up headings, as we've discussed in this podcast. So when you do want to submit an outline template for approval, go ahead and make a portal submission and make the submission type correspondence. Don't make it an outline because it really isn't an outline. It's the skeleton of an outline. Submission subtype, it will require one, so just go ahead and pick administration. In the brief description, if you would please enter request approval of establishment-specific OP template. And then when you're asked where do you want to direct the submission, pick Amy Gill or Nancy Cloud. Don't select your regular reviewer. We'll try to get those template approvals back to you as quickly as possible, and then you'll be set to use them in your very first outline submissions. If you have any additional questions after reading the written guidance and listening to this podcast, feel free to contact us at cvb.pims@afis.usda.gov. Thank you.